Hello everybody, Josh12 back here again with another video, and I'm here with another DC Talk video, and I'm here to talk all things Justice League. Yes, we got a lot of really interesting stuff regarding the Justice League film, and of course I'm here to talk about it. Justice League is of course a film that I cannot personally wait not to see in theaters, but of course have the news and reports regarding the film changed my perception, changed my hype, gotten me interested in actually seeing DC films in theaters after the colossal disaster that is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice? Well, we'll find out at the end of this video. But with that being said and done, I want to clarify right out of the gate that I know that there's been a lot of DC news that's come out recently along with this Justice League stuff, like Wonder Woman, the Batman solo film, Suicide Squad, obviously Justice League, and we got logos for the rest of the Justice League members and what have you, and news about upcoming movies. But for the sake of this video not being overly elongated, I'm just going to talk about anything and everything that is just Justice League related. All the other stuff will probably be in separate videos, or I'll probably just mention them on podcasts. But with that being said and done, let's get into this news. Now let's start off small and get into the big stuff. Number one, the logo. The logo is pretty phenomenal in my personal opinion. I like it. I was kind of scared for a second there because we did get the stuff like, oh, Justice League Part 1, Part 2, is it going to be a two-parter? Is this going to kind of be like DC's Infinity War? What kind of taglines will they have? My idea was that it'll probably end up being stuff like, Justice League Part 1, Rise of Apocalypse, or some said shit, something like that, something ridiculous and overly elongated like the previous DC film titles. However, I do like the fact that Jeff Johns and Zack Snyder and the rest of Warner Brothers are just like, no, it's just simply Justice League, and it's just wonderful. I just love the logo. I love the little star in between. I like the fact that it's just simple, it's bold, and it says everything that we all want as fanboys and fangirls, which is just Justice League. Granted, they could have done something a little cooler, like make it Justice League of America, or maybe like DC's Justice League, kind of like how Marvel did with Avengers, Marvel's Avengers. But as it stands, Justice League, just simply Justice League, is a badass title, and of course, I really enjoy the logo. And of course, we got the official synopsis for the film, which I will read off camera because I don't know it by memory, and it's a pretty long plot, so let's get into this. Fueled by his restored faith in humanity and inspired by Superman's selfless act, Bruce Wayne enlists the help of his newfound ally, Diana Prince, to face an even greater enemy. Together, Batman and Wonder Woman work together to find and recruit a team of metahumans to stand against this newly awakened threat. But despite the formation of this unprecedented League of Heroes, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, and the Flash, it may already be too late to save the planet from an assault of catastrophic proportions. And of course, that's pretty much the official synopsis. Now, granted, let's get into this. The official synopsis pretty much sounds like what we expected to happen in this film post Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. It's very simplistic, and based off everything that we've heard from this, we kind of get the overall idea of what this movie is. Granted, the execution after post-production will be definitely something to behold, kind of like what we went through with Dawn of Justice, but for the most part, this is the official synopsis, and I'm okay with it. Now, let's get into the set vids. Now, of course, reporters were able to go over to London to get an inside look at what Justice League's going to be all about, and they were able to talk about it. And I feel like that's kind of like Warner Brothers' way of like backpedaling and saying, hey, we know we kind of fucked up with the last movie, but here's the new movie, and I know you won't be disappointed. And we got a whole bunch of stuff. Reporters and bloggers were able to see, concept art, props, costumes themselves, actors actually performing sequences, final product footage. A lot of really cool, interesting stuff. Interviews with producers like Deborah Snyder, Charles Roven, and of course the director himself, Zack Snyder, and of course executive producer Ben Affleck and other actors. And overall, I feel like these set visits are pretty much the most phenomenal thing that could have happened to DC, because let's face facts, regardless of the small margin who actually enjoyed Batman v Superman, the larger community of fans and critics hated that movie, including myself. So to have something like this go down is a big win for Warner Brothers, because it gets people to be like, hey, I really hated your shit previously, but this stuff is really fucking awesome. Hopefully you do something greater. And I feel like the great thing to take away from the set visits is the fact that everything feels very alien in comparison to what Man of Steel was and Batman v Superman was. Batman v Superman and Man of Steel were very deconstructive of the superhero genre. It's very dark, broody, moody, just very not what we really want from superhero movies. Once again, outside of the small merchant who actually like the tone. But I feel like the great thing from these set visits, granted, the post-production, the final execution of the final product will, obviously be its own thing, so we'll have to see what happens when it comes out in theaters, but it seems from these set visits that the whole movie is leaving the way that it was previously and going towards a more, what we expected, a more course-corrected towards a much more lighter and fun, colorful tone from what we've seen in the past, and I feel like that's a big win. Now let's get into the actual details, the meat of what we got to see. Now, the reporters were able to see concept art of a lot of various things, a lot of history, a lot of overall lore towards the mother boxes. Now, apparently from what reporters got to see from the set visits, that the mother boxes are pretty much going to be, at least at this point in the stage of the film production, the main focal point of what Justice League's all about. Apparently, Steppenwolf will end up being the actual main villain for Justice League, and of course the Parademons, and their mission is to find these mother boxes that are on Earth. Apparently, one is for the Atlanteans, one is for the Amazonians, and the other is for humanity. And Steppenwolf has come to Earth to find them, and I guess use them for what have you. And we're gonna get into a lot of history between the mother boxes, the New Gods, Steppenwolf, possibly Darkseid, all this kind of crazy stuff over at Apocalypse, and that's pretty interesting. It feels like that's kind of like what this whole movie is going to be about. Just the journey to find the Justice League, which is what Bruce and Diana will be doing. And of course, the formation of that team. Second half will probably end up being Steppenwolf coming to the Earth with his Parademon army to take on the Justice League and find these mother boxes. And of course, the Justice League has to stop them before, I guess, the end of the world. And then I'm guessing the third act will be the resurrection of Jesus Christ, aka Superman. And that's pretty much what we can expect from this. Now granted, as spoilerific as these set visits were, we don't know the full story, obviously, the tiny, meaty details, the stuff that will really make this movie special, the things that we will end up seeing at the theatrical cut, the final product. Of course, this is the early stages of film. Things could get cut out, things could be changed. We're still really deep inside this production of the film, but based off what I've seen, what we've heard from all these articles, from reporters going over to the set, this seems awesome. As a hardcore non-lover of these DC films, I'm super stoked. I really like this stuff. I like the fact that they're going with this New Gods. They're going into the Jack Kirby universe, which is really cool. I love that stuff. Willem Dafoe apparently will be the character of Falco. He will be heavily into the Atlantean lore. We will see Zeus and Diana's history of the Amazonians. Just everything that has to deal with the fact that we have these new mother boxes and the fact that these societies have them within the DC world. And of course, the main focal point will be Batman recruiting the Justice League along with Wonder Woman. For the most part, it's pretty much just all about these mother boxes, which is very interesting. But moving off of that, we got some very interesting spoilers, but very cool descriptions of what sequences will be like. The first one includes Jim Gordon, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and the Flash. The second one includes Batman recruiting the Flash onto the Justice League. Now let's get into this. It's fucking awesome. Granted, they're just descriptions. We didn't get to see the footage. We didn't get to see the actors actually performing these, sequences. But just as a hardcore fan, getting to hear what reporters who actually didn't even like Batman v Superman actually loving this stuff and the way they're so enthusiastic with describing this stuff really brings me a huge smile, because this stuff sounds awesome. The way they describe the Flash really makes it seem like Flash and Cyborg will more than likely be kind of like the Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where they're just the lighter, much more fun, enthusiastic, charismatic form of what the Marvel Universe is. So I think that's a good approach. The Flash is one of those characters that he's already heavily successful on TV, so to change that up and to use that popularity, I think is a good move for DC to make Flash really the big, winner, the real big, I'm hilarious, I know I'm hilarious, I'm doing fun stuff, hey, I'm the youngest one of the team kind of guy, a part of all these other Justice League members with Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman and whoever the fuck else. So I think that's a good move. Cyborg also seems that way, and based off the descriptions, they're going to be major parts of the film, which I say kudos on that front. But at the end of the day, that's pretty much all we got to see. We got, obviously a lot of tidbits of interesting stuff from the actors and of course from the director himself, the producers of what this film could be. Overall, all I can really hope for is a good movie. I didn't get that with Batman v Superman. As a hardcore DC fan, I really am very unenthusiastic for future films, especially Justice League. But with the set visits, I can definitely say if I'm like at a 0% of enthusiasm for the film, I definitely got up to like 5 to 10% of interest because this stuff sounds awesome. I hope that Zack Snyder keeps to the criticism that he got. I hope he learns what he did wrong, everyone else as well, and they don't, and I hope these set visits aren't just like, hey, just like a facade for us fans to be like, hey, we know we fucked up, well, we're doing something new, and then we go into theaters and see the exact same shit that we got like 2 years ago, so that's something that I'm hoping is not happening here. But based off what I've seen, I really hope they keep to the core of what this movie should be, which is a community coming together, a team forming, the formation of a friendship between superhumans, and of course teaming up to take on a common threat. And of course, just keep it light and fun. That's something that's very much lacking with these DC films, that they're not fun to watch. Yeah, it's cool to see destruction and people die, I guess, in movies, but at the same time, we want our superheroes to be superheroes, and that's not what we're getting with these movies. So hopefully they keep to that criticism with Justice League and move forward from here in a lighter way. But that's pretty much all I can really say, and I'm definitely a little bit more enthusiastic. Granted, these are just descriptions. Yes, the logo looks cool. Yes, the synopsis feels very much like what we expected. Yes, there's a lot of cool stuff regarding the new gods and the mother boxes. Yes, the Batman and Flash scene sounds cool, but what will be the final product? Will it be exactly what we've seen with these set visit descriptions, or will it be complete 180 and just like Man of Steel and Batman v Superman? That's the big question. But let me know what you personally think in the comment section below. Let me know what you personally think about everything I had to state. The logo, what are your thoughts on it, the synopsis, the descriptions of, Bruce Wayne meeting the Flash, Justice League meeting up with Jim Gordon, your personal thoughts on Ben Affleck's thoughts on the new and improved Batman, who's a little bit more jokey and a little less Punisher-y, which I think is a plus, and of course Zack Snyder commenting on his, personal thoughts on the criticism he got and the future of Justice League and where it can go from here. Let me know what your personal thoughts on that in the comment section below. But now, shameless plug time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jock12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And this has been Jock12.